Hey guys, and today I thought I'd make a tutorial on how to use processing. So processing is a graphics library for Java, Python, um, and yeah, let's just get right into it. I'm sorry for stumbling. This is my first tutorial that I'm teaching on this, although I have been using it for a while, so I am pretty familiar with it. Not so much the Java thing, but I was using Python for a while, but now Java seems like a better thing just because I'm a more experienced programmer. So this tutorial is for intermediates, by the way. So if you're not a beginner, then this tutorial should be you. But if you're a beginner, you should probably watch some tutorials just on Java syntax and how to use Java, because that kind of makes up how to use libraries and stuff. So anyway, first thing is you may be wondering, how do I start making? So processing is basically you get a canvas to draw on, and you can use that with some functions that they pre-make. So there's a bunch of functions. But first, to set things up, it'd be fitting to make a function for setup. So setup is a pre-given function that when you run processing, it searches for a void setup. And when processing starts, it'll run that once. It's for setup stuff in processing to let it know how big maybe you want the window to be, maybe how many frames per second you want it to be, basically like that. So let's get void setup and two pairs of brackets. And so in here, there are some functions that we will need to say to make the window. So that's actually only one function, just for very simple stuff. So that's the size function. And the size function takes two integers, one for width and one for height of the canvas. So I'm gonna make my canvas 600 by 600. This video is kind of like a main video, so it really doesn't matter what you do. I'm just gonna leave it at 600 by 600. And you can click run. And by the way, download link for this will be in the description. I'm sorry if I'm telling you this now, but you can probably just look it up. It's on processing.org, I think. But the link will be in the description. Anyway, so as you can see, it made a window that's 600 pixels by 600 pixels, exactly, except for the border, but, and it says the window. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so now that we've done that, that's really all you need in setup, unless you're making a very big project with a bunch of setup stuff, but we're just making a sample thing. And I think what we'll make is I'll just show you how to do drawing and colors and stuff. So you may be thinking, how do I draw anything? Because if I put it in setup, it's just gonna run once. So how am I going to do anything a bunch of times per second? Well, that's where another function comes in. So as I told you, there are functions that you make that processing looks for. You don't have to have these functions, but if you want to make anything in processing, you need them. So void draw is an event that runs 60 times per second, or actually I should say how many times your frame rate is. It defaults to 60. And I usually leave it at 60, but if you want anything less, there's a frame rate function, which I'll get into later. But it'll run how many times you put in the frame rate function per second, or 60 defaulted. So in here, think of this as sort of a canvas, and the next time you use draw, it's going to draw over the canvas. And now to draw over the canvas to get it let's say a fresh new coat of paint to draw over all the stuff that you did last frame. Let's set a background, and this will take 3 RGB colors, or 1 if they're all going to be the same. So RGB color is kind of a advanced topic. I'd recommend watching some tutorials. As I said, this is intermediate, so you should probably know already what RGB color is. So I want mine to be white, so I'm going to say background is 255, 255, 255. Now, this is just a white background, and if all of these values are going to be the same color, just all of the same value, just put it to just 1. That just saves time. So as you can see now, every frame it is drawing a background over the last frame. Okay, and so we're drawing a background every frame. So, so now, let's say, if we removed this background function, it would draw the background. It would draw it would never draw the background. But if we put it in setup, it would run once. And I think that's what I'm gonna do. Because I'm gonna make it so it draws over the background. Rather than drawing it every frame, I'm just gonna draw over the background. So now you're gonna be probably wondering, how do I draw anything except just the background, Henry? This is really boring. I can only draw a background. Well, you're in luck because you don't always have to draw a background. So there are a bunch of functions that you can use, and I'm gonna draw a rectangle. So there's a function for that, which is probably a thing that's going to be the saying, like, there's a function for that. But, yeah, but there is a function for that. So the rect function, which is short for rectangle, of course, takes 4 integers. I believe it can take, like a bunch more, but 4 just for the base stuff. This takes 4 values, an x, a y, a width, and a height for how much you, for, like, what dimensions you want to draw the rectangle. So I'm going to draw mine in a random area, probably just, it'll start from 200 to 200. So by the way, y in processing is inverted, so it goes more when it goes down. Like, it increases as it goes down. So 200 will be 200 from the top. And so we need 2 more variables, the width and the height. I'm just going to draw it 50 by 50. And as you can see, this is the rectangle. As you may be thinking, it's just an outline, right? Wrong. It's drawing the inside of the rectangle white by default because we haven't given it a color to draw. And there are functions for that. There's a function for that. Anyway, there is a function for that. So before you draw the rectangle, we're gonna need two functions. So there's one called stroke, which takes an RGB value of 3 values, or 1 if all of them are the same. I'm gonna put mine to 0, which is black. So stroke is the border color of the shape. So if I set stroke to like 25500, the border would be red, or whatever I set this to, it'll be red. Okay. So fill is the fill color, of course. So see, as I put fill to 0, which is black, boom, there is a rectangle that is black. And also, by the way, you don't just have to draw rectangles, of course. There's an ellipse function, which is a circle, and there's just more functions for drawing different shapes. And that's really like the basics of processing. Of course, this will be like a series or a mini series, so there's not just going to be one thing. This isn't enough to actually make a program that's useful in processing. But yeah, so this is just part 1. It's an introductory to processing. And I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to, leave a like and ask some questions in the comments. And feel free to play around with this, because there is a large documentation on processing, or forums.processing.org. I'm not sure the exact links. As I said, all of the links will be in the description by the time that you're watching this. And yeah, so feel free to experiment until the next tutorial comes out. And yeah, so hope you enjoyed. Bye.